take it like a slide for the start. Okay, try to be here at 9, but we will probably like start 5 minutes late. Okay. Okay, my name is Johnson. This one. I have 2 first names, 2 second names. It's so confusing, but this is the one I'm using. Spelling is again confusing. Probably you will tend to say Kenson. No, but it's Johnson because it's Turkish, and in Turkish we spell C as J. But it's like the baby powder, okay? Baby powder, Johnson and Johnson. Pronunciation is like that, okay? You never forget that, baby powder, okay? So I'm lecturing competition law, but I'm also a PhD student here, 3rd year PhD student. And actually I'm working on the issues that we will discuss in this 4 seminars. So it's so like, it's really fun for me to teach you guys, not teach you, but like discuss the issues with you guys. My background is IP. I did my master's in Queen Mary in IP, and then I practiced for 5 years in Turkey. I'm qualified there. I was like mostly patent litigator, but I also did trademarks, some copyrights, and IT stuff. And I also worked in the competition department, but it was mostly related to IP aspect of the competition. Okay. If you're interested, my PhD topic is related to standard essential patents and patent holdup. It's quite technical, and maybe for some of you it's boring, but it is actually really at the intersection of patents, competition law, and in technology sector. As I said, I'm qualified in Turkey and on track of being qualified in England and Wales. I passed the first stage in January, so probably I will mostly focus on practical aspect of the subjects that we are discussing, okay? Less theory and more practice, and I'll try to give you some examples from practice, like how the things that we are discussing in here actually applied in practice. Okay, so I'm really approachable because I practice. I'm really responsive with my email. If you send me email, probably I will send you response same day. That can be night as well. And so you can always reach me via email. My room is 233. If you enter from door 10 in our building, there's another door you have to pass to go downstairs. So before going to downstairs, there's a door there, and that door is my door, 233. So you can always come and visit me. I have office hours, but it doesn't matter if I'm in my room. You're always welcome. It doesn't need to be related to the course. You can come to me like about your research, in terms of how to do research, and maybe your dissertation topic if you want to discuss, or in general about like practicing, or I don't know, as long as it's related to competition and intellectual property, okay? Mostly patents, okay? So let me ask you, so who took competition course before here? You. And you are coming from?
I graduated here.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
So probably you studied EU law and then also...
Yeah, well, that was a while ago. That was the 2nd year.
Okay, and then 4th year, yeah, okay. Now I'm teaching that course. IP? Yeah, you studied IP?
Yeah.
During your bachelor's, undergrad?
Yeah.
Great. You as well. Again, bachelor's.
Yeah, and I worked 3 years in IP.
Oh, so you are qualified?
Well, in Ecuador.
Yeah, okay. It's okay. I'm qualified in Turkey, so. So, and I also wonder something. Are all you specialize in IP and masters now? Or is there anyone doing anything else, like I don't know, like specialization in here, but is everybody studying IP in masters? No. Who is studying IP in masters? Okay. And who is anyone studying competition? Okay. So Oh, okay, so I will see you again, not probably, for sure. You will see me a lot. And actually we'll have similar thing in advanced competition law as well. Yeah, so any question from me? I did that. Okay. Do you have any question in general? Anything? No? You can always ask me question during the lecture. It's just if there's anything in your mind, please don't wait like till the end. But also you can come and ask me at the end, or if you want privately as well. Okay. Let's see. It's long, 2 hours, and we will see how it will go. There will be definitely a break because I will need a break. But so there's you looked at the slides, first part, second part, but it will not be like finishing first part and break and second part because IP part is longer than competition part. Probably we will have like break maybe around 10 or something. Okay. Good. So this is the title. Bless you. So why I started like this? Because if we had this course like in the middle, like the later seminars in this course, probably I will talk about introduction to IPRs, and because you already know about them. But this is your first seminar, and we are going to talk about intersection between IP and competition. So it's kind of important to know what is IP and core intellectual property rights, and then we will briefly talk about introduction to competition law. Okay. Okay, this is outline. First part, second part. By the way, last night when I was going through my slides, I corrected a few mistakes. So if you check the slides, but they're so minor, okay? Like spelling, and I just add in somewhere like a directive. So if you downloaded your slides before last night, I advise you to go and download it again. I mean, you cannot even spot the difference, but just do it, okay? I mean, there's always room for improvement. So let's start with what is IP. So what's IP? Okay, we will always say IP, but intellectual property. What is intellectual property? It's there. Slide. The one studying intellectual property before. No? Okay, I will take this one. It's creation of the mind, okay? It's the intellectual creation of the mind, and this is Weipo's definition. So, in that terms, creation of the mind, it is different than traditional property rights. No, it's like different than the right that you have on land or your phone. It has a strong there's a strong connection between the one created that thing and the creator. Like, for example, I think it's easy to understand in terms of copyrights. When we are talking about copyrights, we say that it's the reflection of the author. So it's like a piece of author. So there is a really close relation between the creator and the subject matter of that creation. Core intellectual property rights. I wrote core because, I mean, patents, trade secrets, copyrights, trademarks, and designs, but these are not only intellectual property rights, okay? We have more intellectual property rights and protections, but these are main ones, and also the ones can be at the intersection of intellectual property and competition law. And mostly frankly, we will see patterns. We will mostly talk about patterns, okay? Let's start with patents. And so patents is protection over inventions, okay? And it is essentially a contract between inventor and the state. What kind of contract is that? Like, what is the subject of this contract? Why we are saying it's a contract? What the parties granting each other in that contract?
What the state is letting you know that no one else can copy your idea or your product.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to be registering your product with the state.
Yes, so actual state is saying in innovator that, okay, I will, because registering is actually disclosing your invention, and I will show you in a bit patent document saying that, okay, you disclose your invention to me, and in return I will give you exclusive right for a period. And how long that period in EU? In general, in principle?
20 years.
20 years.
Yes, 20 years. And say, state is saying that for that period, I will protect you. No one can use that invention but you, okay? I noted that supplementary protection certificates there. Have you ever heard about that, supplementary protection certificates? No? Never? Okay. So, see, the protection is in principle 20 years, but for pharmaceuticals, they can get additional up to 5 years protection in EU. And why do you think we have something like that?
Really,
Sorry. I heard some.
a really important creation.
Okay, really important creation. Yes, it's related to health. Yeah, but not really. But yeah, I like where you're coming from. Yes. Yes, perfect. So the answer was trials, because in terms of pharmaceuticals, what happens is that when you invent something, you go and like run to the patent office and register. And we will see why you are doing that because of the criteria for registration to get patent rights. But when you register your invention, you cannot immediately launch your product, okay? Because in general, humans or like living things will use your product. You need to do some clinical trials before launching your product. And if we don't have something like that, extra protection for that kind of products, that means that let me tell you that generally that trials take around 8 years. So that means that if you don't have extra protection in terms of time, you register and your 20 years start from application, and then let's say it took 8 years, that you only have 12 years of protection. So in order to compensate that, we're saying that under certain condition we can give you additional 5 years protection, okay? So, okay, I will not show you that. I mean, you already have that. So what is the motivation? What is the motivation in terms of protection behind patent protection?
I mean, obviously, I don't want anybody to take my idea.
Okay, but what about from the society perspective? I mean, because we are giving a monopoly right person, like actual persons, can be legal or private individual. Let me take it from here.
And it says in the subject to innovation and new creation.
Yes. So this is the circle. So let's imagine there is a company, pharmaceutical company again. They invented this drug curing type of cancer. Okay, it's really working, and they spend a lot of money on that. Maybe like they work for 20 years or something, trials on top, and they fund it. And actually, it's working. So we are saying that company that, okay, good, perfect, you did something really good for humanity, okay, because now we can cure that cancer. So we are rewarding you. We are giving you monopoly for exclusive right for a period, so you can get the investment that you made on research and development, and also trials, so all your costs, and probably they will get with like a really high profit margins, and on top you can get some profit. By doing that, we are incentivizing that company and also others to invest. So they are looking, oh, okay, it's good deal. I mean, they are making a lot of money, and believe me, if you have a good drug, you are making a lot of money, and that will motivate other companies, actually undertakings, to innovate. And also the same undertaking, because when they get profits, they will also, I mean, ideally, they will reinvest at least part of that profit into R&D. Okay, so maybe they will improve their product, or from there you will they will invent another drug, which is again like curing another disease. Are we clear on that part? Good. Let's see what we have next. So I will talk about criteria for patent protection, but before doing that, I want to talk about European Patent Convention. Have you ever heard about European Patent Convention? Have you ever heard about European Patent Office? Who is German in here? Who is coming from Germany? You? Any other German? No? You're okay.
Yeah, we are in Germany. It's in Munich.
Yeah, so an EPC is, okay, let me ask these German delegates. Probably you heard about EPC, no? Guys, yeah, so what's EPC? European Patent Convention?
Yeah, I did not undergrad.
It's okay.
It's like kind of harmonizing the.
Okay. Are we all agree with these other German delegates? No? Okay. Not quite harmonizing, but the idea is it is not like regulation or directive. It's not a piece of legislation that EU enacted, okay? It's a convention. So it has signatories, and European member states are signatories of this convention, but then we have 10 other countries sign this convention, and one of them is my country, which is non-EU, but still signatory to EPC, okay? So it is important to understand that it's not harmonizing, it's not like a piece of legislation for the purpose of harmonizing EU law, but it is harmonizing in a way, because all the member states are party to this convention, okay? Why I'm referring to this EPC? Because we don't have something like trade secret directive or some like trademark directive for the patents. So we don't have piece of legislation that we can talk about and saying that, okay, this is the principles and things. Patent law is still mostly national laws. We have national patent offices granting and examining patents, and then national courts enforcing patents. But EPC is a good starting point, because EPC is so detailed, okay, in terms of like for example, criteria or examination. If you go and look at European Patent Office website, it's crazy. Then they have like guidelines and everything. But it is actually good starting point because it gives you in general the idea of what are the protection criteria and in general like in basic principles of patents, okay? But for example, in UK, we have also UK Patent Act. For example, if you go to Germany, you also have patent legislation. I don't know the name of it, but this is kind of showing you what is in general in terms of protection and in other aspects of patents. So what is the function of European Patent Office? European Patent Office is in Munich, and it's a regional patent office, okay? And the aim is to make registration of patents faster, easier, and cheaper, okay? And all its rules serving that purpose. So there are examiners in Munich, okay? When you apply for your patent, they take your patent, they are looking your patent and they're examining, and then there are after grant opposition procedures, so they are publishing your patent and third parties can oppose to your patent. But once your patent is granted, it is become effective in designated states. So let me see whether there is more. Oh, I if this works. Okay. Can you all see this part of the? Okay, so. So we said plus states, and let's say you made your application and you designated UK, Germany, France, Italy, okay? So this is the examination stage. So EPO examines your patent, but once it's granted, okay, it is effective in the designated states, okay? We call it European patent, but it's not EU-wide protected patent. You can have that kind of patent if you designate all the EU member states, okay? But it still depends on where you designate. And believe me, because it's expensive, people don't designate all the countries. So, and because you also need to pay renewal fees. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So from here, protection criteria. So for the protection criteria, I refer to Article 52 of EPC. As I said, like if you go and check your own like national patent legislation, the wording can be different or yeah, but in general the idea is that not only even in Europe, like worldwide, if you have a patent protection in your country or in somewhere, the idea is this, quite similar to what EPC requires. So 52 told me about patentable inventions, and there's a reference. Okay, let's read the first paragraph. European patents shall be granted for any inventions in all fields of technology, provided that they are new, involve an inventive step, and are susceptible of industrial application. So what are the criteria for patent protection?
It has to be something so new that it wasn't on the market before, so you have to be the creator of that.
Okay, new. We had new from here. What else? Let me dad used to have something like that, like something. Okay. Okay. What else? Is it enough? Yeah.
I mean, Kosovo has to be invention.
Good. Really good starting point. So obviously you need to have an invention. What else? And we will talk about what is invention actually. What else?
Yeah, then you need an inventive step. So again, I can't just make another book and say it's new and that is my invention. There needs to be something inventive.
Yes. Okay. Good. And one more. It's up there. Yeah.
It needs to be something of use.
Yes. So you have to be like able to use it in some way, which is industrial application. I never ever seen anything that cannot be used, so it's not that important, but just know it, okay? If someone asks you, invention, new, and we called it novelty, fancy, and inventive step, and industrial application, okay? And then in the second paragraph, we have, I mean, as you can see, there is no definition of invention in this paragraph, okay? But it refers to the things that cannot be considered as inventions, okay? So it says that the following particular shall not be regarded as inventions. And we have discoveries, scientific theories, mathematical methods, aesthetic creations. Why? Aesthetic creations cannot be treated as invention. Yes?
There's other ideas.
And what's that, like, what's the main thing that you are coming to your mind? Yes, so for aesthetic creation, but you're right, maybe like design can be aesthetic as well. And then we have, maybe probably like one of the most important thing is computer programs. And this issue is debatable because in some cases actually computer programs can be patented, but it's not the scope of our discussion now, okay? Invention, as we said, in Article 52, there is no definition of invention. The second paragraph is talking about what is not invention. So, first criteria, invention, that means that it shouldn't be something listed in 52, paragraph 2. Are we all agree on that? Is there anyone claiming that no? No opposition. Okay. Then we have Article 52, exceptions to patentability. Okay. This again regulates excluded subject matter. Okay. And it says that you cannot grant patents for anything contrary to public order. Then in B we have plant varieties and essential biological processes and methods for treatment. Okay? And for plant varieties, actually we have plant variety rights, like specifically for that thing. And I did once plant variety. I worked in plant variety file. It was the first plant variety file of Turkey. It was the Johnson's and Johnson's plant variety. So and it's so weird actually. They are just like changing genetics and things, like mixing things and creating something new and try to prevent that. Anyway, we don't have clear definition of invention. We have the sense what is invention, and then in terms of like to be sure, we have to look at Article 52, paragraph 2, and then Article 53 to make sure that it's not one of them. Okay. First criteria, invention. Are we all clear about what is invention and how we can get the sense? Okay. So if you say, okay, I have invention, then you have to move to look at patentability criteria, okay? And we already talked about that. Novelty, inventive step, and industrial application. So and if you obviously if your invention satisfy these criteria, then you can get a patent for your invention and you can make a lot of money, hopefully. Let's start with novelty, new. So what is novelty? What do you understand when I say new, novelty?
Something that's been done before.
Yes, actually, yeah, it's right. I think it becomes more confusing when you start to think with inventive stuff, because okay, when I first heard about them, I thought that it sounds like same. I mean, it's not new, it should be like inventive, but not. We will come to that. So novelty in theoretical sense, we define this as something not part of the state of art. Okay? So have you ever heard about state of art? What is state of art? Okay. Actually now it's like it's used more and more, especially with like technological inventions and things. They said that, oh, this is state of art thing. So basically saying that the current technological level, okay, in basic terms. But if you look for a more formal definition, it's something, it comprises actually everything that was made available to the public before the priority date, okay? And priority date is generally the application date of your patent. So if anything, like it doesn't matter, it can be something like a piece of paper in on the other side of the world explaining something that is still in part of state of art, and it can destroy novelty of your invention, okay? Let's move to inventive step quickly, because I think it's important to compare them. So inventive step is about not being obvious to the person skilled in the art, okay? And actually, the question you should ask is whether that hypothetical person skilled in the art could come with the same invention at the priority date, whether that person could make the same invention, okay? And for that purpose, person skilled in the art is important. It's like you can just like write about like for pages about this, because it's so important what is state of art and person skilled in the art if you are litigating patents in invalidation action, because everything like based on that. So person skilled in the art is someone, not genius, not like a super expert in that field, but ordinary professional working in that field and following the developments to a certain point, okay? And that can be a group of people. And the common knowledge at the priority date is really important, because essentially you are arguing that, look, at the priority date, this was the common knowledge, and if you think about this ordinary skilled person, not possible for her to come up with this invention. But it's always really hard, because there's something we call hindsight. Let's say you get your patent in 2010, okay, and now we are in 2019. At that time, that invention can be less obvious, maybe like not obvious, but after 9 years or 10 years, because we learn more and more, when you look at it today, you feel like it's okay. It's like it's easy peasy, no? Because the development is really, really fast. But these are all details, but just know that state of art and how you define the person skilled in the art is really, really important in patents. The difference between novelty and inventive step, this is so basic, but I always try to explain it like this. So novelty, you look at the state of art. If say this is my invention, okay, I look at state of art and try to see whether this is there, is like this, okay? It's like a cap, this part, like fitting in like this. For inventive step, I can look at like this, okay? There's a cap, cup, this part, and even maybe like a small parts as well. Whether person skilled in the art can take these different things and thought about bringing them together to come with that invention. Okay? Is it clear?
Does it mean anyone in this field can come up with this idea?
Not anyone, but person skilled in art. So
Yeah,
ordinary
in this
person.
field.
Yes.
Yeah, in the field of like making pen, can
Yeah.
make up with this idea. So it is so it is obvious we can do that. So it should. So in one part also mean non-obvious.
Yes. So actually, it's another word we use for inventive step is obviousness.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be obvious.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
So this part is here. This part is here. And let's think about this is like state of art. I'm the person skilled in the art. I'm the person expert in making pen. And okay, it's not like they are not together. It's not like I can immediately point it out. But is it something that with my normal level of knowledge I can think that okay, this is something like this in here, but it's open, so it can just go off, and also you cannot carry it like that because it will stay. Let's see what I can do with that. Ah, there is something like that in here as well. And general, these are the things that are disclosed in different documents. It can be in textbooks or in previous patent documents, or in general. And I said, okay, look, easy peasy, I did this, and this is inventive step. If you will work in patents, and if you will be a litigator for patents, not novelty, inventive step will be the thing that you will be dealing most of the time, okay? I think, I worked for 5 years, I think one time I heard the claim that this invention is not novel. Because generally, this threshold is really low. It's probably like, if there's a patent, probably they came up with something not out there as it is. But inventive step it's something like, you can just like litigate it for that for ages. Okay? And the aim is to prevent minor developments. Okay? So they are saying that, okay, we are giving you 20 years, but it should work for that exclusivity. And inventive step is preventing to get patents for things that are really minor things that anyone can, a person skilled in the art can come up with. Clear about novelty inventive step? Industrial application, just you should be able to apply in industry. And it can be in any industry, including our agriculture. Okay? And most of the things applied in industry.
What does actually happen if the patentee dies? For example, like Steve Jobs died. Who gets the patent?
Actually, Steve Jobs didn't have
patent?
no, because he's not a technical person. Steve Jobs were the more like aesthetic part of Apple, because I worked for Apple and I knew historical. So what was the Wozniak? Wozniak was the guy technical, and Steve Jobs was the one like, oh, it should be so aesthetic, so clean, and but in general, what happens? Nothing. It's a right, property right. It will go to your it will be part of your estate, and it will be inheritance. Okay? It will be good to have some patents in your inheritance if it's a good patent. Finally, registration. For patents, you need to register. Okay? It's a painful process, but you have to register. If you don't register, you don't have patent rights. Okay? Okay, and quickly I will show you, because I already opened it here, if it works. Okay, this is, can I make this full screen? Yes. This is full screen. Not that full, but anyway. So this is patent application. This is from European Patent Office, but if you go, for example, USPTO, American Patent Office, they look quite similar. So you have first the information about patents, summary, brief description, what is it? By the way, this is the sweeping technology of Apple, the patent. Okay, let me show you. Okay. Wait. Or maybe, I think this is also Charms. I will close my turn. This slide technology, okay? So you have information, inventors, and you don't need to be the patent, like you don't need to be inventor to own the patent. Generally, inventors are different, and patent owned by companies. Surprise. And summary of invention, descriptions, and I want to show you that. Let me. So this is like explaining what is it, what they did, what was in state of art, because they try to justify something worth patenting. And then, let me see, we have to have claims. Claims are really important. So actually the claims are the things, it's not working. I think it's because I removed the plastics, it's because there was only one. Anyway, okay, this is not working. But the idea is you have claims, and then there are drawings showing how to make the invention. And why this is important, because invention will be in the public domain after 20 years, and it should be in a way to make available other people to remake the invention. Okay, so they are disclosing and saying that, okay, this is how you are doing it. Okay? Any questions about patents? Okay, so I will try to go really fast now. In terms of harmonization, we already talked about no harmonization in patents. We have EPO, but it's not like harmonization. There are discussions about unitary patent and unified patent court, but probably it will not be it will not be happening quite soon, considering that EU have bigger problems like Brexit now. Yeah. Now how? Now how is quite related to patents. It's still technical information, but it is information that is not patented. Really important to actually make the patented thing. Because of this, generally licensing agreements. Have you ever heard about licensing agreement? What's licensing agreement?
When you give someone the right to make or distribute a product?
Okay. Actually, I am sure, because you all have computers and things, you are part of you are party to licensing agreement one way or another. It is a fancy term for renting that we use in IP, okay? It's you are renting your right to someone else, and we call that licensing. In general, patent licensing agreements, know-how is really important. Sometimes if you don't have the know-how, it's useless to have the license for patent, because it's not possible to make that invention without the technical know-how, okay? And if they satisfy criteria, they can be protected by trade secrets. But they are not patents. They are not patented, but they are knowledge closely related to patent protection. Okay? Trade secrets. It's harmonized in EU because we have Trade Secrets Directive. Trade Secrets Directive defines trade secret as commercially valuable, undisclosed, and intend to remain secret information. It does not create trade secret right. It provides protection. So if you have that kind of information, you can rely on trade secret protection to protect your information. It is important to take all the necessary steps to keep your information secret, okay? If you want to keep something secret and benefit from this protection, you have to be able to show that, okay, I did everything to keep it secret. Can you think about a famous trade secret recipe? What recipe? Coca-Cola. What else? Is there any?
KFC, yeah.
Ah, really? I never had KFC.
You never had KFC?
No, never. Next seminar, you can bring some. No, are you from Scotland?
Yes.
No, I brew. I think also trade secret. So there's a myth that the people knowing the secret cannot fly together and things, because if they all die, no one knows the secret. So as I said, the taking all the necessary steps to keep your secret is really important. I recently heard a story about Tesla. Probably you know now this artificial intelligence and engineers, people working in this field, they are so valuable. Okay, if they are good, everybody try to hire them. So what happened is in one of AI project of Tesla, they were protecting their knowledge with trade secrets, and there were only few people knew about the project and information. So they took all necessary steps. Only one thing, they didn't control whether these people uploading these information another platforms or places like another mediums, let's say, their cloud account. So one of the, I think, engineers upload the information to his cloud account, and then he left the company to work for another company. And obviously he started to use knowledge there. And Tesla actually, I think they litigated, or maybe there was an out-of-court settlement. But the problem was, they asked Tesla, okay, it's good that you decided to keep that, like protect that as a trade secret, but see, this is like a stupid mistake. I mean, you cannot let people to upload this knowledge to, like take that knowledge from your system to somewhere else, and that shows that actually you didn't take necessary steps to keep it confidential. So it is a really tricky area, but if you have the means to protect and to keep your information confidential, this can be something that you prefer over patent protection. Why?
Protected by government.
Because for the patent protection you have to publish your invention. So if you want to have a patent protection after 20 years, everyone can build it.
Yeah. So
I think it also because it protected by government, so you don't need to worry about that.
you mean, but then you say that I prefer patent protection over trade secrets.
Yeah.
Okay, but my question is, if you prefer trade secrets over patents, what will be the reason?
It's faster and costs less.
It doesn't cost anything. I mean,
Well, I don't know. I thought you have to pay a fee to protect it.
trade secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go to a notary and you have to pay a fee to the notary, and then they protect it in like their safe, and then you go to the trademark registration and you let them know you have a trade secret protected.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's faster. Oh, I think.
Yeah.
I think maybe it want to protect it longer. Yeah.
That is it. Because of this Coca-Cola, it's
Yeah.
still, we don't know. Like only Coca-Cola is doing that. But with patents, if you have patents, you have 20 years, then poof, gone. Okay? So if you can keep it, good for you. Copyrights, let me see. Where's my phone? Do you want to take 5 minutes break after this question?
And if you can.
10.
Because I
Do you have any?
don't have coffee anywhere here.
Okay. Let's make it 7.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm a tough negotiator. But let's take this question first.
I just want other exclusions for what can become under trade secrets as well. Patent code exclusions about diagnostic.
Do you have any exclusions in terms of trade secrets? Let's ask the class. Where are you coming from? UK? Ah, okay. You mean in terms of trade secrets directive, what cannot be?
Yeah, because patents, they're all the exclusions of what you can't.
So actually this is a good side, and it can be something why you can not prefer because like you cannot get patent if you are not satisfying the criteria, but in terms of trade secrets, no exclusion. So if you have information commercially valuable, secret, and if you take the necessary means to protect, keep it secret, then you can say that this is trade secret. And also when you think about that in practice, when you start to talk about all these issues, when there's infringement. So if someone start to use your trade secret, then you start to argue that, yeah, but I have a trade secret protection over that information because it's a commercially valuable. It was secret, only 3 people knew about that, and I took all the, like for example, I had clauses in employee agreements that they cannot disclose if they know. In technical, for example, like in Tesla example, I took all the technical measures, protection in order to keep it secret. And for example, if it's like on piece of paper, it was in a safe kind of things, and so there is no, it's more flexible compared to patented subject, patentable subject matter. Is it clear? Okay. We can talk about it more. Okay. Okay, let's take a break, and I will see you here 8:10. Probably you will talk about this a lot, so I will not spend too much time on it. But copyright is what's copyright? What is the subject matter of copyright, and what's copyright?
Right of copy.
By the way, when I ask that kind of question, I never ever expect you to give textbook description because I personally hate textbook description. But you can tell me that, like, oh, for example, Harry Potter is something copyrighted. Then we can talk why Harry Potter is something copyrighted. Okay? So just try to look from practical perspective. What is copyright? What is copyright subject matter? Why do you think Harry Potter is copyrighted and not patented? Yes. So it is artistic creation, and I really like this saying. It's the reflection of author. So the author of Harry Potter. What was her name?
J.K. Rowling.
There are so many Harry Potter nerds in the class. Okay, so something came from her soul, and she created that. Okay, you don't need to register. Once you like, for example, if we are talking about book, once you write your words, it's copyrighted, and it shouldn't be like obviously literary work. It can be music, songs. It can be film, movies. Yes.
Will we protect unlawful book?
What you mean by unlawful book?
Anti-suicide, anti-suicide, something like that.
Okay, so you meant against public order?
Yeah.
Can we protect something like that?
Yeah. I think in China we protect. I think you have copyright, but you just can't publish it. I don't know whether we protect it here.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's actually a good question. So, can you just like speak up and say it again? Like, what's happening in China if you have something against public
You
order?
can get your copyright, but you just can't publish
it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you still have your copyright.
Yeah, copyright. Yeah.
Is anyone? Does anyone know about EU? I personally don't know what happens if it's against. I think probably something can happen, but okay. I'm just like trying to think like a lawyer, and this is not definite answer. But I think public order definition is really broad and it's so subjective. For example, I know theater plays that were banned in UK in old times because they were like, public order not good in that terms. But then they start to play that, and there's no like, for example, such ban for those plays. So it is subjective and it can change. But I'm not in the position to answer that question. Sorry, but I can just come to that next week. But probably everybody's taking copyright class in this seminar, no? No? Okay, then you are taking.
Yeah, I think it's the same because the whole copyright in the EU is regulated in the Information Society Directive, and there's no exemption for hard copies. So it is protected by copyright law, but the national states can ban it as well.
I think we are more liberal in that terms in here. I mean, yeah, but it's maybe it can be something that you will look for, and next seminar you will explain it to us. Okay?
Yeah. Thanks.
For EU.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have like yes.
No, I just wanted to say, for example, in a contemporary issue in intellectual property, we talked about copyrights, but the definition is fine, and even if there, like, we could see that there is copyright, obviously, it's very hard to bring that to the fore.
You mean the contemporary artistic works?
No, for example, we watched a video and both were like the same. Like one person copied another person's video, like music video, but the person couldn't prove, like, had evidence for the fact that that was copyright. So actually the definition is there, but it's very hard to prove that.
Because you don't have a registry like patents. Because for patents, it's in principle it's clear, but for copyright, it's really subjective. For example, when I first started to practice, there was this copyright issue. No, it's okay. So it was about the pattern of a carpet. So one artist, and I was on the side of artists, so she designed and like had that pattern. I don't want to say design, create that pattern, and actually it was like that pattern was in a exhibition. So it was like I mean, she was a real artist, and then a carpet firm approached her and said, "Oh, we want to use this pattern on our carpets." So she sent the samples and things to them, and then they just like eliminate her and start to produce the carpets without paying anything to her. And the case was whether that was her creation or whether the company actually came up with the pattern. But it is really hard because, for example, we were like submitting email correspondence and things like saying that, yeah, look, but this is the pattern, exact pattern, and on that date she sent that to them. And then they launched the carpet on that day, so that means that actually they got it from her. But it is still really hard because there's no big register that you can go and check. In order for that, what can be done? I think it's different in different jurisdictions, but like I think in Turkey we have a culture ministry or of something. They're always changing their names, but you can apply them and get a certificate. They are not looking at whether it's copyrighted, original, or anything. They're saying that, okay, that date you send me this, and I'm like affirming that that date is like the date you sent. Or you can go to notary public and record it your thing. Say that, okay, look, this date I come to you, and this is my work. And if anyone, and I think this is like a more common practice for artists, to just have something like a proof that showing the date of creation, in order, like if there's anything happens in terms of infringement. Okay. Berne Convention related to copyrights, it says it should be author's life, the protection period, author's life plus 50 years. And in EU, we are more generous. We are saying author's right plus 70 years. And depending on the subject matter of the right, you will have reproduction, distribution, rental. So you can license your copyright, and you can communicate your copyrighted work and making available to the public. Any questions so far here? Okay, I'm just moving. Protection criteria. It should be original work, and it should be fixed in a medium, fixation. Original work it is not a really high threshold. Actually, it's a really, really low threshold, okay? It's not like an inventive step or anything. And recently I heard that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry taking an action against the newspaper. And actually, I think they are taking like a series of actions, and one of them is based on the copyright on Meghan Markle's copyright on the letter that she wrote to her father. Okay, so you don't need to be artist or anything, but even the notes that you are writing, they can be subject to copyright. Okay, it's really low threshold. Fixed in a medium, it should be like, there should be something, it should be in something like medium. This can be writing, it doesn't need to be like hard copy, it can be in a database or in a like online storage or virtual place, or again, for example, filming or like photos still considered as fixed in a medium. Okay. And we have TRIPS agreement. There are so many agreements related to copyright. I think it's confusing, and I'm really glad that I'm not working in this field. But one of the two of the treaties again related to copyright, TRIPS and WIPO copyright treaty, and it says that you cannot protect ideas, procedures, methods of operation, or mathematical concepts with copyrights. Okay. Any question? Yes.
So what is a method of operation? Does that mean just how something works together?
It's, I think, okay, actually my maths is really good, but I'm really bad at English terms for mathematical concepts. Like for example, maybe you have answer for it, no? Can you name a mathematical concept in English?
Sorry, not the mathematical concept. I meant the methods of operation.
So doing the way to do something, how you are doing something, probably they are like open to interpretation because it's like the protection of computer programs. We said that they cannot be patented, but in certain conditions they can be patented. So we are listing these things like this, but probably you can argue that okay, this is like it looks like a methods of operation, but no, actually this is like a original in this respect and can be protected. Harmonization, not completely harmonized, but there are different EU pieces of legislation out there harmonizing certain aspects of the copyright, like the Information Society Directive that you mentioned. We have e-commerce directive, software directive related to protection of software, database directive, creating a database, right? That is, I think, no one used that. And recently, and probably you've heard about this, there is this directive on copyright in the digital single market. Came into force, whether I wrote it here, May 2019, like really recently, and amending InfoSoc directive and database directive. I mean, we have created here, there will be lectures teaching you about copyright, so I'm not going into detail, and actually I'm not like that qualified to talk about copyrights. But if you have any questions, we can always discuss it to try to find that. Any question? Okay. Trademarks. Actually, really easy, I think, if you practice. But when you talk about them like this, they sound so confusing. Okay? And I try to make it like as easy as possible. Like this is Smart Water as trademark. Okay? Is there any other plastic bottle? Or like Starbucks logo we had there, okay? And why, like what is the function of this? When I go and try to get, like want to buy a bottle of water from W.H. Smith, there are different bottles, they are all water, but there are different writings and logos on it. So, for example, when I look at this, I said, oh, this is like a production of Coca-Cola. So these things help consumers to distinguish about the origins of the product or service, okay? Trademark is the sign helping consumers to distinguish about the origin of the goods and service, and differentiate between different undertakings. Because of this, we often call it also badge of origin. So it's a kind of identity showing the origin of the product. Typically, this is, so we have trademarks directive in here, and it also says that they are signs and they are distinguishing signs and being represented on the register. So again, this is similar, like something similar to fixation criteria of copyright. You have to represent it to somehow, and if it's like just like abstract something that you cannot represent, it cannot be protected by copyright. Like, I try to think of something, maybe like a smell, maybe, but not like the formula of, for example, Chanel No. 5. but like a certain smell that you smell, because it is subjective to people, and probably you cannot like, because how you can protect it? I mean, I'm smelling it like that, but you smell it differently, so, and you cannot describe it in an objective form, so you cannot, at least you cannot protect it with registered trademark, okay? Typically they are, okay, I said even smells, but that was more like for chemical formula for the, for example, for perfumes. Typically they are words, logos, and colors, also shapes. For example, one of the last trademark files that I worked was related to GSK's color combination for inhaler devices. It was like a purple, dark purple on the lid, and the main part was light purple, and we tried to protect the color combination. Not color itself, but we were saying that, oh look, this for inhaler devices, this combination is distinctive, and when the consumers see that color combination, they immediately think that this is GSK product. Also, for example, the Ferrero Rocher is that bowl chocolates, and their packaging is protected. Or, for example, and probably still same, iPhone, the shape of iPhone. I worked in the iPhone 4 shape registration of iPhone. It sounds like you should go for designs, but no, generally companies would like to register trademarks. For example, Lego. This is from EU IPO, European Intellectual Property Office, Toblerone. I refer this like a lot in my petitions, because like the distinctiveness is actually quite low in this. What's this one, girls? Okay. This. What's this?
Everyone knows it.
Company, okay. Louis Vuitton. What's this then? I really don't know.
Purple.
But, yeah, but what? Milka. Yeah. But it can be also Cadbury. Yeah. I know, for example, BP Green is registered. See, now they have these sounds and things. This Vodafone, how it's like turning and things. Yeah. So many things can be registered by trademarks. Let me ask you, for example, I said that the iPhone registered as trademarks. Why do you think they registered the way of how the product looks like as trademarks rather than protecting with anything? Why they want to use trademarks for that? It was like literally how this looks like 3D, and not this. I mean, for me, I knew about iPhone 4, but do you have any idea why they would like to?
The protection period of the design is very short, so trademark lasts forever.
Yes.
As long as you pay for it.
Perfect answer. So trademarks, the protection is territorial, so you have to have a protection in that certain territory in order to. I mean, there are unregistered trademarks as well, but in terms of registered trademarks, but there is no time limitation for your protection. It's unlimited as long as you pay your fee and as long as it's not email dated. Okay. So if you get a trademark protection for the way how your phone is, how your phone looks, you can protect it forever. Okay. There are also unregistered trademarks. You can protect unregistered trademarks by passing off in the UK and unfair competition law in many European jurisdictions. And let me ask you, what is unfair competition? it's really cold in here, but I couldn't find. I don't think that I can turn it off. There's nothing in here that I can turn it off.
In this white.
But it's no. It
No,
says.
right hand side. Yeah.
In the box.
Yeah, in the box. Yeah. In
Box.
the
The
wall.
door. The door is
Ah. Why didn't you tell me? Okay.
I
let's-
told the janitor, but he didn't call it.
Okay. I turned off. I think we will. Why? Come on, guys. You will be lawyers. You should demand. You said that we are freezing here. I'm freezing as well. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so unfair competition. Unfair competition. What's unfair competition?
Monopolies?
Dominant position in the market.
Okay. Okay. So it's important to make a distinction between unfair competition and anti-competitive conducts and agreements. Okay. Unfair competition is because remember I said you can protect trademarks, unregistered trademarks by unfair competition. So if I am doing something, and let's say I'm selling this bottle of water, but I'm not Coca-Cola, but I'm putting their marks on my bottle of waters. If their mark is not registered, they can still prevent me to do that by unfair competition provisions, saying that you are misleading consumers. You are creating the impression that your bottle of water is coming from Coca-Cola, but it's not actually. It's your bottle of your bottle of water. Okay, so I'm but water producer, bottled water producer, and I am putting this trademark on my bottles in order to confuse you guys. So when you go to market, you're like, okay, they're like quite similar, maybe not identical, but you're like, okay, and maybe my price is a little bit like lower, and say, okay, probably there's a discount on this, and you just buy. And so I am benefiting from your credibility on the side of consumers, okay? And if they don't have registration for trademarks, they can still prevent me by unfair competition, okay? So this is more like between me and Coca-Cola, no? It doesn't have a greater impact in the process of competition in the market in general. But when you move to unfair, anti-competitive agreements and conduct, it's something that I'm doing, like for example, I have market power and I'm using that market power in a way to exclude competitors from the market or foreclose the market to the competitors. So my action, my conduct, or the agreement that I'm making with other undertakings have an effect on the competitive process in the market in general. So it's important to make a distinction between unfair competition and anti-competitive agreements and conducts. I saw partners and like a really good people mixing about them. Okay? Don't do that. It looks bad. Unfair, I think because it's, in terms of terminology, it's confusing, but make sure that, and I mean, if you don't learn anything about these seminars, please make sure that you are not confusing between these two, okay? I recently learned that in some jurisdictions like Germany and Belgium, unfair trade practices can be accepted as anti-competitive automatically, but I think this doesn't prevent us to make a distinction between anti-competitive see, it's so hard. Unfair competition and anti-competitive conducts and agreements. Okay, it is something different. Unfair trade practices. Okay. Did I talk about? I talked too much. Let me see. Trademarks harmonization. Yes, No, yeah. We have trademark directive in EU, so it's mostly harmonized in terms of their effect on functioning of internal markets, like the rights conferred by trademark and registration criteria. And we have EU IPO. Do you know where is EU IPO, European Union Intellectual Property Office? It used to be in OHIM. It used to called OHIM, Office Harmonizing something Internal Market.
Isn't it in Alicante?
Yes.
Spain?
Yeah. So it's in Alicante in Spain. Its office is amazing. I heard that it's just like a right on the coast of the sea. They have this amazing view, and generally they are accepting trainees like you guys. So go and check their website if you want to go and have like a 6 months or something good time in Alicante. Maybe you can go and work for them for a while. Okay. Designs. I'm just like skipping, like not skipping, but I will just like will be really fast. It's about the shape configuration of a thing, product, article can be registered or unregistered, and obviously you can stop people to copy or sell your design product protected by design. It can be registered and unregistered, but protection scope differs if it's in terms of EU-wide designs. If you have unregistered design, it will be 3 years, and if it's registered, it's 25 years protection. And the protection is automatic, so if you, when you make a design application, they are not looking at like examine whether it satisfies certain criteria. They are just like registering. It's more like administrative thing, just like recording your application. So when you apply for a design, they are giving you in EU and UK design rights. Okay, but then obviously someone can come up and challenge your design and saying that this wasn't. Okay, good. This is not like, for example, this is really similar to, actually not like substantially differentiating for my own design, so you cannot have that protection. Okay? Any questions? Yes?
What's the territorial scope for it?
So you can have EU-wide design protection, and it is, I think registration is through EU IPO, but also you can apply from regional. I mean, generally offices are trademark and patent offices, so from that offices you can also apply for. So you can only get if you want UK wide design protection. Okay. Any question so far? Okay. We are getting close to competition. Let's talk about EU free movement rules. So what is one of the main aim of EU? And if you also think about the free movement of rules.
To have an internal market where there's a free floating products and services.
Yes, products, services, and even people, free circulation, no boundaries. And I think it's really ironic to talk about all these, like when all this Brexit thing is going on, but still. So in terms, and mostly when you're thinking about IPRs, mostly products, we want a free circulation of products, no boundaries between member states, so we have free movement rules. So first I want to refer to the Article 345. These names always change, not always, but okay. For the ones who are not coming from EU overseas, this one is TFEU, is Treaty on Functioning of European Union, and it's the old Rome Treaty, no? Treaty of Rome. Yes. And do we have here? No, we have another one, which is the Maastricht Treaty. But for the ones who are not coming from EU or like never learn about EU law, I advise you to go and read about like basic EU law, how it is working, because we have this EU level legislation and then we have national level things, how these things are working together, and also the main principles of EU law, like the founding treaties and their effect. Also primary sources and secondary sources and kind of things that will be really helpful for you guys. Not in detail, but just understand how EU law is working in general. So we have this Article 345. It says that, referring to the like treaties in general, no, they can in no way, shall in no way prejudice the rules in member states governing the system of property ownership. So it's saying that we have to have like no boundaries and free circulation, but still there is a slack leeway for the property ownership in member states. And then, and these are more important, Article 34, 35, they are prohibiting qualitative restrictions on imports and exports, basically saying that you cannot have any measures like prohibiting barriers to cross-border trade between member states. So there should be no border. So everything should circulate freely. But then we have Article 36, and that creates an exception for certain things, and one of them is intellectual property rights. So it's saying that if you have an intellectual property right, then you may prohibit, you can impose restriction on trade, okay? So we have free trade rules saying that no borders, no barriers, but then we have exceptions saying that, and IP is one of them, if there is an IP protection, yes, you may protect that. What does that mean in practice? For example, you can stop things on customs, okay? And that generally done by trademarks and designs, because it's easy to see them. Like for customs officer, they can see like, oh, okay, this is this trademark, and that can be counterfeit or something. They can stop it. Like for example, in my case, I few times went to customs in Turkey, actually in Istanbul, and it wasn't that fun. So you are making applications to custom, like there's one big thing like authority, and saying that I have insight that there will be some counterfeit, let's say Louis Vuitton bags coming from this country. You can make like specific, or it can be in general. And when customs officers are checking things, they can say that, oh, okay, let's put it on the side and ask these people come and see whether they are counterfeit or whether there is any protection on that, that we shouldn't let these two circulate in the market. This can happen. I mean, obviously Turkey is not EU, but this can happen in terms of IP protection within member states. Like for example, if you have a protection in certain state, and if you didn't exhaust your rights, you can ask control on customs and prevent the entrance of that protected product, like actually infringing product into your territory. So that is actually saying that you can, if there's IP protection, you may prevent circulation of the product. And then we have exhaustion of right. It's kind of exceptions to this rule. Not exception, but it's still like, so free movement rules. Then we have exception for IPRs. And then there's something else that can actually prevent you to enforce your IP again. And this is exhaustion of rights. What's exhaustion of rights? I'm so tired. EU people? Yes?
It's like a rule that once you put like a product on the market with the consent or by the person that made it, you cannot prevent the further spread of the product.
Good. Actually, yeah, this is exhaustion of right. So let me give you an example. What is the what does this latest iPhone called they launched recently? iPhone 11 Pro. Okay, so probably they have trademark for that. Okay, iPhone 11 Pro. And let's say Apple launch its product only in Germany. Okay, they just put their market on Germany and not in other country within the European economic area. By the way, exhaustion of rights is not only for EU states, but it's covering all EU economic area, which is larger than European Union. So let's say they only put it in Germany, and then someone take, let's say, 10 of these products. Yes.
And put them on another market because it's like the rights exhausted.
Yeah.
So they cannot prevent it, like the ones that imported it like into Germany cannot prevent further exportation in other countries.
Yeah, definitely. So if, let's say, I was in Germany or one of our German delegates, they took 10 of the iPhone and bring here and sell. Apple cannot say, even they have trademark protection in UK for iPhone 11 Pro, they cannot rely on that right to stop the circulation of these goods in UK because they consented to put these products on market in Germany in the first place. Okay? This can be, I mean, I'm talking about trademarks because it's easier to understand with trademarks, but that can happen with patents as well. And so, yeah, basically, and it's important in terms of parallel import. So if something's put onto market, then people can buy maybe like few of them and sell in another territory, and you as an IPR owner cannot prevent that. Consent is important. Sorry.
What happens if you have an exclusivity agreement to distribute in that country? Like,
Yeah. So actually, I was coming to that. So consent is important. Okay. So you as an IP owner, you can put it on that market, and if you do that, obviously you have consent because you did it. Or, for example, it can be put on the market by a third party in terms of licensing agreement. Okay, and if the case is like that, it's important to look at the terms of that agreement. For example, some agreements can say that not for re-export. So you can sell this product in that territory, in our example in Germany, but you cannot export it to other countries. Okay, and in that case, I'm talking about Apple is putting their iPhone on German market by third party, not by themselves. In that case, we said that they don't have consent. So if the products are if people start to sell these products in other territories, then Apple can prevent them because they didn't have consent for the re-export, so they didn't exhaust their rights. Okay, they made it clear that I'm just like giving you this right for this territory. Yes.
no, I meant more like in your example, if I'm Apple and I'm starting to sell my iPhone 11 in Germany, and she buys 20 of them, and she wants to bring them to UK and sell them in the UK. But as an Apple, I have an exclusive agreement with a third party in the UK, and that party is the only one that can sell iPhones in UK territory. She couldn't sell them even though it's a station of IP rights, or she could.
In that case, and we will see that. Have you ever heard about Constant and Grundig case? We will talk about these issues like exclusive retailers and agreements, and you will see like how it will affect in general these like arrangements. But in principle, I can say that no, you cannot prevent it. Like for example, in Constant Grundig case, Constant and Grundig is is it German? Huh? Constant and Grundig, yeah, it's German, and they have a exclusive agreement with a French retailer, and they also made that French retailer registered Grundig or Constant, I don't know, like the trademark of that certain product, in order to prevent any parallel trade coming from other countries into French territory. And it was concluded that that was anti-competitive. So you cannot use IPR rights in principle to prevent parallel imports. Okay, even you have an exclusive retailer in a certain territory. Okay, but we will all discuss about this. Any questions about exhaustion of rights? If we can't finish today, we can still continue and finish up next week. Give me just like 5 minutes. I will quickly talk about objectives of competition law, and then we will finish next week. I know. What's competition? Who is studying competition here again? Just one? No, there were more. Okay. Okay, yes. So for improvement, encouraging and motivating improvement. Yes, good. What else? What we can say about competition? Tell me this, like something like a concept or situation when I say tell you competition. What's coming to your mind?
Tesco and Spar.
Okay. How?
I mean, both are small, or let's say Tesco Express is a small grocery shop, and Spar is as well.
Okay.
But you will see Tesco more often than Spar. So actually they're competing with each other.
Okay, yes. So it's the case of competition, how they are competing. What else do you think?
Sports.
Rules that make sure that we have a healthy market.
Okay, healthy market. So someone thinking that competition is closely related to healthy market. Yes. Sports.
Sports.
Yeah, there was a dissertation that I supervised last year related to competition in sports in the US, and there is such a thing like competition in sports. Yes, and in general, I mean, I think competition is like in the core of sports. What else you can think about? Okay, competition is undertakings trying to achieve superiority over other undertakings, and also exploiting their position best to maximize their advantage. So, for example, Spars and Tesco, they are competing and they try to attract more customers. So they try to, like Tesco try to be superior than Spar at the end of the day. Okay. Health market, it's related, and we will talk about that. We will see that actually we make this connection between competition and health market. But if you go into more detail, it's debatable whether competition is leading to healthy market. But for the sake of this seminar, it's good to think about like that. And then we have competition law, basically the rules of this game, and rules of the competition law is about the freedom regulating the freedom, how that competition can be done. So how you can achieve superiority over other undertakings, or how you can exploit your position in the market. And also competition law preserve free market economy. What is free market economy? Is there anyone having an economics background here? You, oh, okay. Now I'm scared. So what's free market economy?
Government won't control it.
Sorry?
Government won't control it. The government won't control the market.
Yes, so we don't want like just one undertaking controlling the market, yes?
But the market is an equilibrium between the ones.
Yes. And this is fancy technical thing. Yeah, I mean the allocation, they said that allocation of resources is determined by supply and demand, okay? For me as a lawyer who doesn't have economics background and who don't like economics that much in the bachelor's, I'm thinking is like actually like having okay, I will try to pronounce that and don't laugh at me. Laissez-faire. Let them do. So free market. Oh, you're French. No. Who, is there a French speaking people? Is there French speaking people here?
Yeah.
Okay. So how you pronounce it? Laissez-faire. Okay. So what I think is laissez-faire. So let them do, and we will see what happens in the market. Okay. Primary aim of competition law is to protect the competitive process. By the way, before moving that, why we want free market economy? Why we want to preserve free market economy? Why we don't have social market economy? Why we don't deserve that, and instead of that we want free market economy?
Capitalism.
Because it's accepted that, and it's again like we can argue this. If you have free market economy, you will have lower prices, better quality, wider choice, and efficiency. And my final word is primary aim of competition law is to protect competitive process in the market. Okay, it doesn't aim to protect individual competitors. Okay, you cannot like say that you are doing something bad here because like another competitor like having difficult time in the market. No, it's not okay. But still, and we will see, competitors can be protected on the way to protect the competitive process in general. Okay, this will be the last one. I will quickly finish wrap up next seminar. It's short anyway. And any question or anything? No. And I will try to put the next week's slides and reading list today and during the weekend, hopefully. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.